In the peaceful small town of Troy, nestled between sweet magnolia trees and sunflower fields, lived an elderly black woman named Mrs. Riggs. With her white station wagon as her trusted companion, she embarked on a special journey every Sunday morning, visiting each bakery in town. From wheat to rye, and all kinds in between, Mrs. Riggs filled her vehicle with loaves of bread to share at the local churches after service. This ritual was a cherished tradition in the Riggs family, passed down from generation to generation. For Mrs. Riggs, sharing bread was more than just a gesture. It was fulfilling the Lord's calling to share his blessings of bread with the kingdom of God on earth. However, one Sunday was unlike any other. Mrs. Riggs did not show up for service. Her trusted white wagon was missing from its usual spot by the church entrance, and there were no fresh loaves of bread waiting to be shared among the congregation. The church folks felt an unease settle in their hearts as they sang hymns without their beloved matriarch. Soon they learned the heartbreaking news. Mrs. Riggs had taken her final rest over the weekend, quietly passing away in her sleep. The church attendees were devastated by this sudden loss, but found comfort knowing that she departed peacefully. As they congregated at her funeral days later, something magical happened that humbled every grieving heart present. Bread crumbs began falling from high above like tiny snowflakes from heaven. It felt like a gentle touch from Mrs. Riggs herself, marking an unforgettable end to an unforgettable lady. In this strange yet wondrous event lay a beautiful message. Although they lost Mrs. Riggs physically, she would always remain with them, through kindness and love that exuded and echoed even in her absence. The community came together after this miraculous occurrence. They decided to continue Mrs. Riggs' tradition of sharing bread every Sunday. Young and old, they now gathered each week, baking and breaking bread, in honor of their departed friend. Their act of unity was a testament to the power of love and compassion that Mrs. Riggs had instilled in them. The Bread Lady, as the new generations lovingly referred to Mrs. Riggs, remained a beacon of love, friendship, and generosity in their hearts and stories. Her legacy lived on with every crumb shared and every loaf baked. She was truly the yeast that held their community together. In this heartwarming tale of Mrs. Riggs and her heavenly breadcrumbs, we are reminded that love persists beyond earthly existence. It lingers in our actions, our memories, and our traditions. And so ends the tale of Mrs. Riggs. Yet her story continues every Sunday with each shared loaf. A gentle reminder that while life may end, love never does.